Hello, football fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 13 in the league where they play. For pay! Great to be back with you guys. As I always say, the best audience in all of YouTube is right here. Coming off a spectacular week, 9-2 with the picks, 4-1 over and unders, 13-3 overall. Of course, we got a couple games, one tonight, one tomorrow, but a spectacular week. Let's keep it going as we're heading down the home stretch now. Pick number 1. Let's go to South Beach, Florida, where the Miami Dolphins are minus 10.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals down to 2-8-1, lost to the Giants. Really didn't get much done at all on offense in this game until very late. They tried to rally, came up short. Listen, without Burrow, you don't expect a lot from the Bengals now. Miami, they're up to 7-4. They rebound off the loss last week to Denver. They beat the New York Football Jets. We all expected that. Tua did not play. Miami offense was a little spotty, but the defense kind of dominated the Jets. They got the job done. Miami having a really nice year at 7-4. Really nice year at 7-4. Listen, this is one of those 3-team teaser games, 4-team teaser games. You got to take the Dolphins. You have to take the Dolphins no matter what way you play this game, whether it's straight up, money line, teasers, 6 points, 9 points. You got to take the Dolphins some way. You got to take them. You can't take the Bengals. Dolphins are pick number 1. Pick number 2. Let's go to Minnesota, when the Minnesota Vikings are minus 9 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville down to 1-10, lost to Cleveland. Jacksonville has now lost 10 games in a row. Missed a 2-point conversion, to tie the game late. Minnesota, they're somehow up to 5-6, found a way to beat Carolina despite playing a horrible game. They're losing fumbles. Carolina's running back, turnovers. Minnesota found a way to win. Carolina kind of gave that game away. Minnesota is 5-6. They are a game behind Arizona for a playoff spot. A game behind Arizona for a playoff spot. Minnesota, as bad as they've played. Playoffs? Playoffs, Minnesota? Are you kidding me? They're right there, though, especially with that extra wild card team this year. Again, for all you 3-team teaser lovers where you get 9 points, move it down to pick them and take the Vikings. Listen, I don't love the Vikings. They lost to Dallas a couple weeks ago, but I like Jacksonville even less. Jacksonville hasn't won now. They've lost 10 games in a row. You can't trust them. Minnesota's got a chance to get up to 6-6. They are right there for the playoffs. I mean, I don't think much of them this year, but I think they have enough to beat Jacksonville at home. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3, let's go to the Steel City in Pittsburgh. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, a minus 10 against the Washington football team. Pittsburgh, of course, plays tomorrow. They've had their game changed a couple of times with the Ravens because of the virus situation. Washington, they're up to 4-7. They just bombed Dallas on Thanksgiving. Nice performance by the boys, by the way. Washington's right there for the division. Again, it's going to be a theme this week. A 3-team teaser game, 9 points, move it to 1. You got to take the Steelers. The Steelers haven't lost. They're home, and Washington's 4-7. And has Washington beat a winning team this year? I don't think so. I mean, I know Washington's right there for the division, but do you really trust them to go into Pittsburgh and play a big-time game? I don't. I got to take Pittsburgh here. And listen, real quick, the first 10 weeks of the season, I picked the majority of underdogs the first 10 weeks of the season. Now, these last 3 weeks, I'm leaning towards the favorites. Just because some of these bad teams are on the road and they're playing good teams that need the game. It's hard to pick some of these, these bad teams. It just is. It just is. And I'm sorry. I mean, I know you guys like some underdogs, but I mean, certain weeks it just doesn't work out that way. And like I said, the first 10 weeks of the season, if you add them all up, I picked majority underdogs. Not the last 3 weeks. It's hard to pick some of these games. And that goes out to Dan the man who sent me a message last week and said, is it good to pick all favorites? He thinks he could go 16-0 if he picks all favorites every week. And that's not the way it's going to work, Dan the man. Some weeks that'll work. But you're not going to pick, all favorites every week and go 16-0. I mean, come on. Come on, Dan. Thanks for the message, but that's not how it works. Some weeks you got to pick favorites. Some weeks you go 50-50. Some weeks you pick underdogs. I've been leaning favorites lately. And last week it worked out for me. 13-3, 9-2 with the picks. How can you argue with that? Pick number 4. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Not too far from where I am here with the Las Vegas Raiders. A -7.5 against the New York Football Jets. Jets down to 0-11. Lost to Miami. Can't even get in the end zone. How about Las Vegas? How about you, Mr. Chucky? Down to 6-5. Didn't just lose to Atlanta. They didn't show up. They got carved up like a Thanksgiving roast. That was a pitiful, embarrassing, humiliating performance by the Raiders. The Raiders were 6-4 coming into this game. Right there for a playoff spot. Playing Atlanta, I know Atlanta's played a little better recently, but they did have the worst record in the NFC coming into this game. And Atlanta, without Julio Jones, by the way, who was banged up, just bombed Las Vegas from start to finish. Vegas was awful. Awful on offense. Awful on special teams. Awful on defense. Turnovers all over the place. Lost. Just a weak performance by the Raiders. That was one of the few games I lost. I couldn't believe they took a beating like that. Listen, you want to say Atlanta was going to win the game? Listen, you could have talked me into that. But the score, what did the score end up being? Like 43-6? 43-6. 43-6. Humiliating loss by the Raiders. And give Gruden credit. He came out and said no excuses. He did say that. That was a pitiful, weak performance by the Raiders. Terrible. Having said that, I'm going to move the line to 1.5 in a 2-team teaser and take the Raiders. I love the Raiders in a 2-team teaser here this week. They're coming back across the country, and they're going to be angry this week. They were humiliated. They have to have this game in the worst way. They're playing a team that hasn't won a game all year. They will lay it on the Jets this week. If they don't, that is an alarming sign for the Raiders and Gruden at this stage. Would be alarming. And the Raiders have had a tough schedule. They did a nice job this year up until last week. That was humiliating. I expect them to come back and roll this week. I think they will. They have to. They have to. A lot of good teams in the AFC. Again, weak performance by the Raiders last week. Show me something this week. You're playing the Jets. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5. Let's go to the desert in Arizona where the LA Rams are -2.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. What happened to these two teams over the weekend? Arizona down to 6-5, lost to New England. I picked New England, by the way. Arizona now hanging on to that last playoff spot. Rams down to 7-4, lost to the Niners again, and they lose in their own building to the Niners. They've now lost 4 in a row to the Niners. The Rams had that nice win on Monday Night Football against the Bucs, and they followed it up with a dud against the Niners. They finally rallied late in this game to take the lead 20-17. Then they couldn't stop the Niners. Niners tying the game at 20. Rams can't get down the field to take the lead, and the Niners come right back down at the end of the game and kick the game-winning field goal. That was a bad loss by the Rams. And if Seattle wins this game tonight, the Rams, because of that blunder, are now out of first place. The Niners are decimated with injuries, and yet the Rams could not handle them. Can you explain that to me? I can't figure it out. They have the great win on Monday Night Football against the Bucs and Tom Brady, and they come back and they lay a complete egg against the Niners again. They cannot beat this team. Terrible loss by the LA Rams. Just atrocious. Awful job by them. I am moving the line to 8.5, and I am taking Arizona. I get Arizona at home. I get 8.5 points. The Rams have been up and down. Arizona needs this game in the worst way. You have to think this is a field goal game either way. You have to think it's going to be close. So if I can get 8.5 points, I'm taking Arizona. So that's where I would go there. That is pick number 5. Pick number 6. Let's go to one of my favorite stadiums in all of the NFL, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where the Kansas City Chiefs are -13 against the Denver Broncos. Kansas City up to 10-1, beat Tampa Bay yesterday. Kansas City, of course, a game behind Pittsburgh for a best record in the AFC. How about the debacle in Denver yesterday? Denver down to 4-7, lost to New Orleans. Their first 5 quarterbacks could not play because of the virus. 5 quarterbacks on the Denver roster, not one of them could play because of the virus. So they had to use one of their position players, who a lot of people didn't even know who this guy was who was quarterbacking. He's out there flinging the ball all over the place. Denver actually was so desperate that they wanted one of their coaches to be the quarterback, and the league said, no, you can't have one of your coaches be the quarterback of an NFL game. We're not going to allow that. What an atrocious, that was just atrocious yesterday, and that's what this virus has caused this year. Denver, top 5 quarterbacks could not play in the game. They could not play. So they were down to one of their position players that they took off the practice squad or something. No one even knew who he was. He's out there quarterbacking in an NFL game against one of the best teams and the best defenses in the NFL and the Saints. How'd you think that game was going to work out? And the NFL is determined to play these games. They wouldn't care who was quarterbacking. They want these games in under any circumstances because it's about money. Money, 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 money. They're going to play these games. They wouldn't care who was out there for Denver. They wouldn't care if I was quarterbacking the team. Play the game. As Denver got routed at home by New Orleans. Listen, this spread's 13. This spread should be 33. How is this spread only 13? We don't know who's quarterbacking Denver. I mean, is it going to be the same situation as yesterday? Is Locke coming back? Who's quarterbacking? To me, 4-team teaser, move it to 1, take the Chiefs. How could you like Denver under any circumstances? The Chiefs score against anyone. Denver can't move the ball from here to there. It's in Arrowhead. The Chiefs will win this game. 4-team teaser, move it to 1, take the Chiefs. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7. Let's go down to Hotlanta with the New Orleans Saints, a -3.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. I mentioned Atlanta. They're up to 4-7, beat Vegas. That was a nice win by Atlanta. Atlanta, since the coaching change, has played a little better. They are 4-2 since they changed coaches. New Orleans, they're up to 9-2. I just mentioned they blew out Denver. What is that, 8 in a row now for New Orleans? Their defense is playing lights out. Look like one of the best teams in football. When they get Breeze back, they should be right there for Super Bowl contention. Should be right there. This is a tricky game. I'm going to move it to 9.5, and I'm going to take Atlanta. And they just played a couple weeks ago, and New Orleans kind of beat them up. I think this game will be a little tighter. I think Atlanta will play a little better at home. You're getting 9.5 points. I think this game will be a little tighter. I'm going to take a shot here with Atlanta at home, saying they hang around in this game. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. Let's go to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field with Green Bay Packers, a -6.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles, of course, played tonight against the Seahawks. Green Bay, they're up to 8-3. They smacked around Chicago last night on Sunday Night Football. Again, how do you trust Philly? And I keep saying this week after week. Move the line to pick them and take Green Bay. I cannot trust the Eagles under any circumstances. They've shown me nothing. Wentz has shown me nothing. And I know they're right there for the division. Until they actually win a game and play well, I'm going to keep picking against them. I like the Pack at home, especially if I can get it even. That's pick number 8. And pick number 9, let's go to Seattle with the Seattle Seahawks, a -9 against the New York Football Giants. This is an interesting game all of a sudden. Seattle, of course, plays tonight, can go into first place. Giants up to 4-7. They are in first place. The New York Football Giants at 4-7 are in first place, and I don't think they've beaten anyone with a winning record. But who cares in the NFC least? First place, New York Giants. Now we'll see about Jones, the quarterback. He went out with a hamstring injury. They're saying he's going to miss some time. That means who was it quarterbacking? His name McCoy? He was quarterbacking. They barely hung on and beat Cincinnati. I mean, what a mess. The Giants are in first place. The Giants are in first place. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. The Giants, first place. Really? 3-team teaser. Move it to pick 'em and take Seattle. I mean, they're home, and I think Jones is going to miss this game, and I have no faith in the Giant backup. I know they pulled out the win yesterday, but I cannot see the Giants with the backup quarterback going into Seattle and winning. And I know Seattle's defense isn't all that great this year. Seattle will outscore them at home. So I like Seattle in a 3-team teaser. I'm going to stay away from the rest of these games. They're all a little tricky, like Buffalo in San Francisco. That's a very tricky game. I know it's a decent game, but I don't know what you're getting out of San Francisco. They're 4-2 on the road. They're like 1-4 at home. Not sure what you're going to get there. That's an eerie game. I'd stay away from it. Tampa Bay and Carolina on a bye. Tampa Bay, what's going on with them? They got to start winning some of these big games. Brady, again, another couple of bad picks. Carolina just gave that game away to Minnesota yesterday. I will take Baltimore at home against Dallas. There is no spread on that game because of this whole situation with Baltimore. But whatever it is, I would take Baltimore there. Not going anywhere near Chargers, New England. Not going anywhere near Chicago, Detroit. Not going anywhere near Indianapolis, Houston. Not going anywhere near that one. Tennessee, Cleveland is a very big game, and give Tennessee credit. They're playing very good football. They're in first place now, and give Cleveland credit, too. Without Beckham, they're under the radar playing good football. Tennessee, Cleveland is a very good game, but a very hard game to pick. I would stay away from that game. I mean, I guess I would lean towards Tennessee at home. Not a game, though, I want to bet. So I'll stick with those first nine games, I should say. I'll pick some over and unders as usual. I've been good with the over and unders the last 2 weeks. I'm 8-1 in the over and unders the last 2 weeks. 9-2 with the picks last week. Spectacular year. Winner after winner, week after week. So we're coming down the home stretch now. We got about 3-4 weeks to go. Let's keep it going. You guys, thanks as always for the support. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. I'll talk to you guys probably next Monday. Take care.